Connor, everybody. This song is called Alice's Restaurant, and it's about Alice in the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant, that's just the name of the song, and that's why I called the song Alice's Restaurant. We're just gonna wait for the music to come back around on the loop station here, and we'll get going. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now, it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was on 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant, in the bell tower with her husband Ray and Faster the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be in. Having all that room, seeing as they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. We got up there, we found all the garbage in there, we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed on toward the city dump. Well, we got there and there was a big sign and a chain across the dump saying closed on Thanksgiving. And we had never heard of a dump closed on Thanksgiving before. And with all the tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one. Until we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road there was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff there was another pile of garbage, and we decided that one big pile is better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. That's what we did. And we drove back to the church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obi. He said, "Kid, found your name on an envelope in the bottom of a half ton of garbage. I just want to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obi. I cannot tell a lie. I put the envelope under that garbage." After speaking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter and said that we had to go down and pick up the garbage. And also had to go down and speak to him at the police officer's station. So we got in our red VW microbus with all the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction and headed on toward the police officer's station. Now, friends, there was only 1 or 2 things that Obi could have done at the police station, and the first was he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And the other thing was that he could have bowled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But what we got to the police officer's station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested. Handcuffed. And I said, "Obi, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." And that's what we did. Sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. I won't tell you that about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this happened here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, 1 police car. And when we got to the scene of the crime, there were 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police officer's station. They were taking plaster, tire tracks, footprints, dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to use as evidence against us. Took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, and that's not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, we went back to the jail. Obi said he was going to put us in a cell. He said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in a cell. I want your wallet and your belt." And I said, "Obi, I can understand you wanting my wallet so I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my belt for?" And he said, "Kid, I don't want any hangings." I said, "Obi, so do you think I was going to hang myself for littering?" Obi said he was making sure, and friends, Obi was, because he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head end round. And he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the balls, roll out the roll the toilet paper out the window, slide down the road, and have an escape. Obie was making sure, and it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, remember Alice?
Yes.
It's a song about Alice.
Yes.
Alice came by with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, bailed us out of jail, and we went back to the church and had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, and didn't get up until the next morning when we had all got to go to court. We walked in, sat down. Obie came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one. Sat down. Man came in and said, "All rise." We all stood up, and Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures, and the judge walked in and sat down with a CNI dog. And he sat down, and we sat down, and Obie looked at the CNI dog, and then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and looked at the CNI dog. And then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows in the back of each one, and began to cry. Because Obie came to the realization that it was a typical case of American blind justice, and there just wasn't anything he could do about it. And the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, explain what each one was to use as evidence against us. And we was fined $50 and had to pick up the garbage in the snow, but that's not what I came to tell you about. I came to talk about the draft. They got a building down in New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, you get injected, inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I went to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in, I sat down, got good and drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best when I got there that morning. Because I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to feel like I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York. And I walked in and sat down, and I was hung down, drunk down, hung up, and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. And I walked in and sat down, they gave me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. And I went up there. I said, "Shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. Kill. I want to see blood and gall and guts in the veins of my teeth. Eat dead, burnt bodies. Kill. And I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill. And he started jumping up and down with me. We were both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill. And the sergeant came over, pinned a medal on me, set me down the hall, said, "You're our boy." Didn't feel too good about it. Proceeded on down the hall, getting more injections, inspections, detections, neglections, and all kinds of stuff they was doing to me at the thing there. And I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long time, going through all sorts of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I was just having a tough time there. They was inspecting, injecting every single part of me, and there was leaving no part untouched. Proceeded through, and I finally came to see the last man. I walked in, walked down, and sat after a whole big thing there. Walked up, and he said, "What do you want?" He said, "Kid, you only got one question. Have you ever been arrested?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's restaurant Massacree with full orchestration and 5-part harmony and stuff like that and all the and he stopped me right there and said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one. He stopped me right there and he said, "Kid, I want you to go and sit on that bench there that says Group W. Now, kid." And I walked over to the bench there, and there is Group W is where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing a special crime. And there was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly people looking on the bench there. Mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers sitting right next to me on the bench. And they was mean and nasty and ugly and horrible crime type guys sitting on the bench next to me. And the meanest, ugliest, nastiest one, the meanest father raper of them all, was coming over to me, and he was mean and ugly and nasty and horrible and all kinds of things. And he sat down next to me and said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 to pick up the garbage." He said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there in the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty things till I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all came back, shook my hand, and we had a great time on the bench talking about crime, mother stabbing, father rape, and all kinds of groovy things. And we was talking about that on the bench, and everything was fine. He was smoking cigarettes and all kinds of things. So the sergeant came over, had some paper in his hand, held it up, and said, "Kid, this piece of paper's got the words in 137 cents, very well, we don't know what he does in the crime time, the crime setting, all kinds of things. Gotta say, pertaining to the crime, warrant, no arrest, officer's name, and all kinds of things. Gotta say, he talked about 45 minutes, under no understand a word he said. But we had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the Massacree with the 4-part harmony and wrote it down there just like it was, and everything was fine. And I put down the pencil and I turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side. In parentheses, capital letters, quotated, read the following words. Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself? I went over to the sergeant and said, Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I mean, that's just, I'm sitting here on the bench. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a litter bug. He looked at me and said, Kid, we don't like your kind, and we're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington. And friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder, is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing this song to you now is because you may know somebody in a similar situation. Or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do, and that's to walk into the shrink wherever you are. Just walk in and say, Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant, and walk out. You know, if one person, just one person does it, they may think he's really sick and they won't take him. And if two people do it in harmony, well, they may think they're both faggots, so they won't take either of them. And if 3 people do it, 3, can you imagine 3 people walking in, singing a bar of Al's restaurant and walking out? Well, they may think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 people a day, I say 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out? And friends, they may think it's a movement. And that's what it is. The Alice's Restaurant anti-Massacree movement. And all you gotta do is join in and sing it the next time it comes around on the guitar. With feeling. So wait for it to come around on the guitar in the loop station here and sing when it does. Alright, here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. That was horrible. If you want to end war and stuff, you gotta sing loud. I've been singing this song now for 25 minutes, or 12 and a half. And I could sing it for another 25 or 12 and a half minutes. I'm not proud or tired. So we'll wait till it comes round again, and this time with the 4-part harmony and feeling. We're just waiting for it to come round again, that's what we're doing. Waiting, almost there. Get my harmonizations ready. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. One more time now. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Excepting Alice. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just half a mile from the railroad track. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Alice's Restaurant. Anyway, that's Thanksgiving.